welcome very much to Greg Callaghan, and thank you very much for agreeing to do this interview with us. I suppose for some people will know that I was meant to interview Greg at the grassroots round in the Nagels last month, but obviously due to current conditions, that race was cancelled and we never got around to it. So Greg was very kind to agree to do a video interview instead. It's the first for me. I don't know about Greg. It's probably not the first for you, but we'll try and keep this casual and informal and just have a quick chat. So thank you very much, Greg, and welcome.
Yeah, no worries. Good to get on, have a chat, and yeah, finally, as you say, I've been trying to do it since the Nagel. So it's good that thanks to modern technology, we can still.
We're not completely isolated. So I suppose on that topic, how are you getting on training-wise and personal-wise, being restricted from what you should be doing or what you would normally be doing this time of year?
Yeah, like it's a strange scenario because, like, for as long as I can remember, my training and my year has been based around a race calendar that starts in March, April until October.
Yeah.
So like when say November last year, started training again with that end goal of end of March, and then you're kind of striving towards those goalposts, and then at the last moment they just kind of got taken away and moved to somewhere that we don't even know at the moment. So the initial reaction was like it just took the wind out of the sails for like a lot of people. I think anyone who was in a similar position, you suddenly just lose your motivation because you don't know what you're training for, and there's kind of bigger things going on as well. So with coach, we decided to just kind of have a bit of a break initially, where I just kind of did whatever I wanted and just settled in and tried to figure out what was going on with the world and with racing and everything. And then, I think it was probably 2-3 weeks in, I was just like, right, I'm going crazy. Get me back on a program. So back training now as normal, but we just kind of changed the goals around, whereas normally you're striving towards races and a lot of the stuff is bike based. We've kind of switched that now to more process goals. So like things like, having a hill climb to repeat and time yourself on, or setting certain times on the rowing machine, or targets in the gym, those kind of things, which has actually been really interesting. Like it's given me a totally different perspective on training, and it's making me more train because I want to rather than because I have to. So, it's been quite refreshing in that sense. Like I'm doing some things that I normally wouldn't do because you're so focused on being perfect and working towards that race goal, whereas now it's kind of you're almost just training to stay on top of things because if I was head down now training towards these races, it'd be pretty hard to sustain that level of high-end training until November, as that's where our season is going to now. So we kind of have to step back a little bit, stay ticking over, and then be ready so that whenever things start happening again, you're ready to go and you're on the front foot, and you're not just you haven't just been sitting on the couch for however long maybe.
Because normally you would train to, I guess you would be aiming for a peak at a certain time of the year, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. Like usually you're aiming to be strong for the start of the season at the end of March, and then that June July block where there's the most races is where you want to be peaking. But those June July races at the moment are happening, but who knows if that'll stay. So that block could then be August or whatever. At the moment now there's 4 races planned from September onwards. Maybe 5 I think, including Trophy of the Nations. So you're gonna need to be strong at that time of year, whereas normally once October hits you're burnt out, because that's kind of according to plan, is that once you finish the last race you're like, right, stop, rest, recover. So you definitely kind of we have to kind of readjust things, but hopefully we'll just still get some races, and it's the same for everyone, so you just got to manage it as best you can.
So because the first race was supposed to be in Chile, I think, wasn't
it? Colombia and then Chile.
Colombia and Chile, so they would have both happened by now.
That's the weird thing as well. Like even I was saying yesterday, like normally you have winter, and then I go away at the end of winter, the weather's crap. And then I go away for 3 weeks or so for the races, come back and the weather's nice. And like that's my transition from winter to like spring, summer. Whereas now I've seen it happen gradually, so I'm like, what's going on? Like, it's surreal because my marker
usually happens like that. At least we've been lucky with it, with lockdown, and the weather's been fabulous.
Yeah, we're getting exam weather already.
Very good. So Yeah, so we cancel around. So your season's going to be, well, it's going to be a long season. Well, I suppose a long season is it late in the year season because it's still going to be the same length. But
Mm. Yeah, it's a long year, I guess you could say.
yeah, so it's not as far as none of the EWS rounds have been cancelled as such. Have they? They've all been moved.
Yeah, so they've done a good job where they've managed to find weekends later in the year where they can fit. And in a strange turn of events, actually, the last race of the season in Chile is on my birthday.
All right.
So that's probably going to be one of my better birthdays because normally I'm just at home.
Yeah.
Well, it's always fun at home, but it'll be cool to be at a race with that.
Exactly. If nothing else, your birthday would be in Chile. So
yeah, exactly. Good motivation to give myself a good present as well.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I kind of brings me on, I guess, to well, let's move to you've had a busy winter. You were moved from one team to another.
Mm.
Yeah. What kind of brought that on? Any specific reason, or is it?
Yeah, it was just kind of time for something fresh, I guess. Like I was with Cube for 5 years, and I think after that amount of time, if you re-sign, you're kind of it's that's kind of like, right, I'm going to be there pretty much my whole career.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas yeah, sometimes it's nice to change up the environment and change people around you, and that's like a fresh injection of motivation. And the package the Da Vinci guys have, the bike, the products, all the guys involved with the team is really good. So straight away when I met with them, it excited me, and it was something that I wanted to be a part of. So it was a tough decision, but in a lot of ways it was also an easy decision because I knew I was going to for something good and exciting, and a good environment.
Is it a big change for, say, when you're racing, obviously is your job, so it's like starting a same job but within a completely new environment. Is it a big change to race or training wise and getting used to different ways of doing things?
Training wise, not at all really, because like I still stay with the same coach, so all that stays the same. It's just the equipment and the staff within the team change, which I think the change in this case is it's a lot of younger people, and everyone involved in the team has been a racer at some point and are really good riders. So that's a huge plus for me because they fully understand what a rider needs, and they're there to help the racers do as well as they can, which is kind of how it should be, and that's something that will be a huge help whenever we do get to some races, I think.
Mm-hmm. I know you read articles about people changing teams, and they always make a big deal about the fact that the bike change and the equipment change. Is that a big factor? Is that a big?
Yeah, for sure. Like the last thing you want to do is change teams, sign a deal, and then get on the bike and be like, oh, didn't think of that. So yeah, so they were really good. Like once we started talking towards the end of last season, they sent me 2 frames, a large and an extra large, because I was kind of between sizes. So I was, as early as October, I was riding the bike, and I was still riding my Cube race bike, and I could ride them back to back and compare directly. And straight away, I was super impressed. So that was, that helped the decision as well, which was great. And we were quite lucky in a lot of senses that Cube were really understanding, and that they let me kind of, they didn't just, I had to obviously honor the contract at the end of 2019, but like we went for a testing camp in November to California with the team and Fox, and Cube allowed that, which was really cool of them, really understanding of them, because it's pretty rare that you'd have an opportunity before January to actually be with the team and testing the product and doing that kind of stuff. So yeah, like we got off on a really good foot straight away, which was really cool.
Very good. So you had much opportunity to do much with Union Da Vinci, considering there's not been many races.
Yeah, we've actually done quite a lot. Like we did that camp in California in November, which was great. Maybe November, December. And then we did a test camp in Portugal as well in end of February. So yeah, that's quite a lot considering we hadn't really done any racing yet. I did Annie Pacifico as well, but that was on my own, so it wasn't too different really. So yeah, like we spent enough time with the guys now that we know each other pretty well, and we know how everything works. So we were as ready as we could have been to start the season. But
when it comes to that, is it actually handier having a bigger space before the first race just to get there, or is it kind of just you're sitting on twiddling your thumbs?
Yeah, you just want to be racing really. Yeah, it'd be different if in the time we have off here now we were testing new things and together as a team and working more on speed on the bike and setup on the bike and stuff. Then it would be a good thing, but you can't really ride at the moment. So you're not really moving forward with any of that. You're just waiting at the point you were at anyway. So yeah, just waiting.
Everything's paused.
Yeah, exactly. Everything's paused.
Yeah.
Nothing's really going forwards or backwards. It's just paused.
Yeah. So you said you did the Andes Pacifico. How would that go?
Yeah, that was fun. It's something I've always wanted to do. So it was more like a bucket list kind of thing for me.
Yeah.
I've never done much blind racing, so it's it's not something I'd really see as a strength, and especially out there, like I've always, when we've gone to Chile, I've struggled a bit with the terrain because it couldn't be more different to what we ride here in Ireland. So I thought it'd be a good chance to try to learn how to ride that stuff. And it definitely was. Like, it took, as I expected, it took me a few days to get into it and get a feel for things and realize, find how to get grip and that kind of stuff, and realize how to ride it. And even a big thing in Andes Pacifico was the navigation, because it's just an open landscape with not much trail and just these bits of tape. So you're just constantly trying to find the next bit of tape and where the trail goes. So I learned a lot. There was a lot of learning. The result wasn't really what I hoped for, but I hadn't really hoped for that much because, I was kind of the only guy towards the front of the race that had never done it before. So you can't expect to just jump in and be at the front. I think when those guys have, they've spent a while learning how to do it. So
I've seen videos of previous events, and the terrain looks pretty spectacular and intimidating in places.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so cool. Like, it really is a bucket list experience. Like, it's a really good week with your friends. Camping, the food is amazing. They look after you really well with the race, and then the places you get to see are insane. Like, it's crazy. It's like, one of the stages started on the border of Argentina and Chile. It's like 3,800 meters above sea level, and when are you ever going to be, in an area like that? And then you have a sign of a stage and you race for 15 minutes down to the valley. Like, it's once in a lifetime kind of stuff, I think.
Pretty spectacular. Just bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to move this over here and just make sure. Back up. Right, do that. So I just had a horrible thought in the back of my head. What if Skype isn't recording the video? So
it's telling me you're recording the call, so you're probably okay.
Yeah, exactly. I still have the audio. I have plenty of audio for everybody. I just wanted to make sure I had a second option on the video.
Better safe than sorry, I guess.
Exactly. So was that? So what was I going to say? But yeah, the Red Bull thing. Let's talk about the. You've been with them, what, a couple of years now? 2-3 years?
Yeah, about 2.5 years now.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a pretty big milestone for a lot of athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's as you say, it's a huge milestone. Like, whenever I was growing up, I was always a huge motorsport, like motorbike race kind of fan, and any event you went to, the guy winning probably had a Red Bull helmet on. So to now see myself on that side of it, where I'm getting to wear the hat and the helmet, it's pretty amazing. Like, as a brand, some of the things they've done is just exceptional. Like, the events they put on, or the help they've given athletes. There's so many athletes that they've taken from such a low level and helped develop them to be, the best in the world, or best of all time, or whatever it may be. So, to be part of that family now, and be able to represent the brand with such a high stature is, it's a huge milestone, as you said.
Yeah, I mean, they have some really big names on their lists across all different sports, not just mountain biking. So how does it work for you? Like, so you've got your team, Union Da Vinci, and you've got the likes of Red Bull. That you have some smaller sponsors as well, I assume. But who takes care of you? I mean, with the EWS, you're traveling around the world essentially. Who takes care of what's? I mean, not in great specifics, but I'm guessing you're not having to pay this out of your own pocket, because that would be impossible.
It's kind of, it comes from different places, but like for the racing, that's mostly would be the team, Union Da Vinci. They, that's their thing. They're a race team.
Yeah.
So when you're dealing with EWS and stuff, they're the ones that are there with you and helping you look after the bikes, or feed you, or all that kind of stuff, get you to the events, because that's their speciality. So that's what they be doing.
So that's one of the biggest pros to be in on a factory race team is that side of things.
Yeah, it's a support. Like it's a lot more than just having a good bike and the right equipment. That's obviously a huge factor. But then, there's so much elements within a race week that the more the team can help you and the more they can give you all the right pieces of the puzzle for you to then put together on race day, the more that's going to help you. And it's a pretty big factor of it.
So, I mean, do you have a pretty decent Irish contingent now at most EWS races? Between yourself, Killian, I'm trying to remember people's names now, but
yeah, Keelan, and then not to mention all the young lads in Ronan Dunn and
Dan, and
then there's loads.
Yeah, there's quite a few privateers as well. Then, and last year was at Leah Monsell did quite well.
Yeah,
a few races she went to. Yeah. So do you get to hang out much when you're at races, or is it sort of?
You'd see them like a lot of the time. The schedules at EWS are pretty hectic. So like a practice day, you'll probably be out on the bike for 8 hours or so. You'll see other riders then, so you might chat to them, help them with lines, just see how they're getting on, or a lot of times with the likes of the privateers, they'll call by the pit and be like, "Oh, I broke a derailleur. Like, do you have any spares or that kind of stuff?" So you try help out where you can. And you just chat to them through the weekend. But once the practice is finished, you need to look after yourself. So the best thing to do is give your bike to the mechanic or whoever's looking after it for you, and get back to the house, get fed, get washed, start watching your head cam. So there's not a huge amount of time for just hanging out during the race weekends. But you definitely see each other, and it's always great to see familiar faces and hear the Irish accents.
Yeah.
When you're in a foreign country racing like that, and it's pretty cool to see. That there is so many Irish people now giving EWS a go, because when I started out there wasn't many at all, so it's pretty cool now to see it.
Yeah, no, Enduro in Ireland in general seems to be taking off.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, exactly. I think it did from the start. Like Niall's done such a good job with the series, and now Glenn up north and the grassroots lads as well. Like I remember the very first Irish Enduro that Niall ran, he brought over a load of pro riders like Jerome Clements and Nico Lau, Joe Barnes. So straight away it was just this high level race series, and I think it's never dropped from that. It's always been seen as, when I travel, people from all over the world will say like, "Oh, the Irish races look like such a good scene and such good level of racing," and it is. And I think the amount of pro riders that we have here now and fast riders that we have is a testament to that. Those riders all cut their teeth on racing at home, and you don't get to that level without having good level racing at home.
And there's loads. I know the youth classes the last couple of years have been pretty full, and some very good riders coming up through that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the times the young lads are getting closer and closer to us. So, make us nervous.
Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you get much chance to race in Ireland now? Because I guess with the EWS and all that's a pretty hectic schedule through the year.
Well, this year was actually going to be a great year for racing at home for me. Like that, the grassroots in the Nagels, that was the first one of those I was going to get to do since I think 2016 or so. Because normally those races are pretty close to our first races of the season. So then there's a bit of an overlap there. And then I think this year with the Gravity Enduro Series, I was going to be able to do enough rounds to do the full season, which I really wanted to do, because it's been years since I've had to I've been able to do the full season. So I was really looking forward to a lot of Irish racing, but it's the way it goes. It's just year on year, you're kind of waiting for the calendars to come out and just to see where they all slot in. When you're doing 8 EWSs plus a few team trips here and there, and maybe they want you at a different race in Europe between the season, it's pretty hard to put extra races into that, because you need to kind of make the most of those blocks of time between the EWS to be training well and efficiently. So tricky, but try to fit them in when we can.
Do the calendars mid stuff. I was going to say as well, like with the EWS, like sometimes you'll have races back to back weekends, but on occasion, like other times, their races can be a month or two apart. Is it hard to stay motivated and at a consistent level?
Yeah, it's motivation I wouldn't say is too much of an issue, especially during the season, because once you finish a race, whether it goes good or bad, you're instantly motivated to be better, or if it goes well and you win or whatever, you're motivated to do that again, and if it goes badly, you're motivated to do better the next time. So if that's a 5 or 6 week block, that motivation stays with you. It's more the winter off season, when it's 4 or 5 months you haven't raced, you haven't had that like recharge. reminding yourself of what,
Yeah.
why you want to push so hard. So that's when the motivation lacks a little. Whereas between races, yeah, as you say, like now they've gone more to back-to-back races. So you might have 2 races and then a 5 or 6 week break, and then 2 races. So generally that 5 or 6 weeks you'd have, if you've had 2 races back-to-back, you'll come home from that trip knackered, because that's 2 massive weeks, both mentally and physically. So you'll probably take another, 4 days to a week or so before you're feeling like you want to train again, especially with jet lag and all these things. So then you'll probably get another 3-4 weeks of solid training, and then you'll have a week where you'll wind back down, and then you'll travel to the next race and be ready to go again. So, you've only really, a 5 or 6 week break is actually only 3 weeks of training. So then if you start putting in another race into that 3 weeks and another trip here and there, it's pretty quick that it's hard to get consistent blocks to move forward. So it's pretty easy to lose sight of that and, try to do too much. And then before you know it, you're not making the most of that time and you're not moving forward. You're maybe just staying in the same place, just maintaining your fitness. Whereas then if someone else is doing a better job of, managing that time, then they're going to get ahead of you. And, before you know it, you're on the back foot. So, you need to be careful. You need to plan these things pretty well.
So last year you struggled with your foot, didn't you, at the beginning of the season?
Yeah, it was around this time last year actually I broke my foot. Broke it and did some ligament damage. So it wasn't the worst injury, but it took a while to get it fully right. And where I broke the bone, the muscle that controls the calf connects. So when your foot's on a pedal and you're in bumps and your heel's dropping, that muscle's being activated all the time. So it's quite a while before I could ride without pain. And even now, the odd morning I'll wake up and it'll still be sore. So it was, I didn't miss too many races, but it was kind of bad timing in another sense because I came into a load of races not really ready for them. So, it's just the way it goes. That was the first injury I'd had in quite a while, so I just kind of had to take it on the chin. Yeah.
Is it hard? I mean, you did the previous 2 years you did quite well. It was 3rd and 6th overall, 2 consecutive years. So is it hard to keep that sort of consistency, especially with something like the EWS, where every race is so different?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And as you say, consistency is a massive thing. Like the year I was 6th in 2018, I only had 1 top 5 in that year, but I was consistent for the rest of the races. And, that was enough to put me in 6th. Whereas last year I missed the race. I had some mechanicals, some crashes, and, it didn't take long before you're just dropping off the back.
Yeah.
So, you need to be consistently, within that top 10 or somewhere towards the front to get any kind of overall result. It might be a delivery here. Yeah, just like, how's it going?
No worries.
Yeah. Now, I've officially turned a dark corner.
They're hard to get now, apparently.
I know, that's why I ended up getting it. No more has them in stock, but the mate had a bikeology shop in Nace.
All right, yeah.
And they put up on Instagram that they had 2 left, and I was just like, I'll take one. And then paid for it, and was just like, oh no, what have I become?
Usually that's the dark, deepest depths of winter as the turbo trainers come out.
I know.
Yeah,
I told my coach, and he was disgusted.
Yeah, I've got one set up in the bike shed for the same reason, because otherwise
I
there's
need
no
to
riding.
racing, so I need to get on this Zwift buzz so I can,
Yeah.
get my I don't know what you call my race fix.
Have you tried that before? I know a lot of people are going on about it now. They must be booming this time with this what's going out.
Yeah, well, as you say, you can't get them anywhere. They're out of stock everywhere.
Yeah.
No, I've never tried Zwift riding. I've been on the rollers and the turbo and stuff, but normally, like, I would ride in the worst weather possible than inside on one of these. But apparently, they make it feel like you're inside. So.
Yeah. So yeah, I said I was looking at your Instagram earlier and over the last days as well. I mean, and you seem to be lucky, one of the lucky few with something to ride within our 2 kilometer limit.
Yeah, pretty fortunate actually that there's a forest and stuff nearby here, and we have a couple of trails. So there's I've got a nice climb I can use, and then some mellow enough trails that I can ride, within my limits, keeping it safe and not taking any unnecessary risks. So yeah, pretty lucky that way. Like, I can still train as close to normally as probably anyone can right now. So yeah, it's definitely helping to keep me sane, and I've got plenty of gym equipment and stuff in the house here as well. So yeah, I can still train very well, I would say.
It's the sanity thing as well, isn't it? To be able to get out a little bit and.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And even, like the hill climb I have, like I was just trying to set my best time up that, and, digging deep on a hard effort like that, and at least feeling like you're getting somewhere, and at the top getting a nice view and getting to the top of the hill, you're like, right, I've actually achieved something, rather than, it keeps you a bit more sane than sitting in the same place digging deep.
Yeah. I know I see a lot of Instagram feeds. People are predominantly riding in the back of a room somewhere on their turbo train.
Well, I'm going to give it a go now. We'll see.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not that bad.
Oh, it's probably not that bad, but if it's the only thing you can do, I guess it's
exactly.
A bit of open air and free. Let's see, that's more or less all the topics I had. Oh, the only thing I came across, I reminded the Sound of Speed video you did last year, I think, was it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It looked like, well, it was fun to watch. Was it fun to do?
Yeah, it was cool. It was hard. It was 3 days in like January up in Pollymore up north. So like, it doesn't look it, but it was really cold, and like the trails were a bit icy and stuff, so it was a bit sketchy. But yeah, it was really fun. Like, I shot it with John Lawler, and he's so easy to work with. So like, we got quite a lot of footage for the amount of pushing up I had to do or whatever it was. And his wife made us lovely sandwiches every day. That was really nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a really good few days, and really happy with the end product. Like, it came out really well because John does such a great job. So yeah, it was fun. It was pretty cool to not many people have had the chance to do those videos as well. So that was cool. It was cool to get. That
was Red Bull, I think, wasn't it?
It's like a series they have. Sound of Speed. I keep saying it the other way, but Sound of Speed. Where it's like a super high quality raw video where you can really hear the bike. And not that many people have done them, as I say. So it was cool to get that chance.
I know we get what I think it was like. It's only a few minutes long, the video, but I guess what you said, 3 days of filming.
Yeah, that's what goes into it. Like, I think it was 3 minutes or so of riding.
Yeah.
And yeah, it takes 3 minutes or 3 days, to get that amount of footage. Because, if you see me hit a corner, or any video, if you see someone hit a corner from 3 different angles, they've had to hit that corner at least 3 times. But it'll probably be 15 times actually, because it takes a while to get set up and get the shot right, and for the rider to get it right, or the videographer to get it right. So before you know it, you're flying through the days. Yeah,
I know there's quite a few riders now that are there's several that have waved off racing and doing videos and stuff. And is that something you'd like to do more of, the videos, or is it all racing?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how things have evolved that way. Like, it's it used to be that if a brand wanted to promote their brand, they just invested in racing, and that was kind of the only way. But now with social media and so much online stuff, there's many ways now. So there's a lot of these brand ambassadors, or riders who just do sick edits. For me, like, I definitely like to stay racing as long as I can. Like, I'm competitive. I'm a racer. I love going fast. That's definitely what I want to be doing. And the videos are fun as well, and they are cool. But yeah, my heart's in racing for now.
Yeah, I guess they both require effort, but in different ways.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different type of effort, and it's a different type of reward.
Yeah. Yeah, that's more or less all the questions I had for you. Just had a little chat, and thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks again.